Hey guys, OJ Albina here, bringing you guys another episode of our Draft League study, a series where we kind of go over the viability of certain Pokemon in draft and, in the draft format, different roles they might fulfill, and different ways you might see them used and stuff like that. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about an absolute phenom in the format. We're going to be talking about ALAKAZAM. This thing's notorious for being ridiculous. It's notorious for being one of the most popular mods in Gen 7 by far, and it got a few new toys in Gen 8 that we'll definitely talk about here. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into the typing and stats here of ALAKAZAM. Alright, as for typing, Mega ALAKAZAM is obviously a pure psychic type, just like its, regular counterpart there. Abilities-wise, it has it has Trace as its ability, which is a very, very useful ability, especially in the draft format. Being able to copy the ability of literally anything on the field, it's awesome. Say you're coming in on a ALAKAZAM, you can come in, intimidate it after you trace its intimidate, and live a hit from it. Or being able to trace something crazy like a Beast Boost, which I actually have a replay of in a little bit here that we're going to show off. Or tracing a Water Absorb on a Vaporeon because it's Mono Scald, and you can set up on it or something like that. Very, very good ability in a niche setting. Has Magic Guard pre-evo, which is awesome because it'll allow you to avoid hazards, it'll allow you to avoid potential like Sand Chip and a bunch of stuff like that, Burn, Toxic, anything like that. So if you're playing in a league that's not first turn Mega, you can definitely take advantage of that very, very solid ability as well, which is really good as another facet to ALAKAZAM as a whole. Stats wise, oh man, this thing is a behemoth. So it's gonna be very mediocre in the first three stats, right? It's gonna have 55 HP, 50 attack, 65 defense, but that's completely fine. We don't need to be completely balanced when we're rocking out with 175 special attack, 105 special defense, and 150 speed. Now these are pretty insane. The SPDEF stat is obviously pretty solid. It's nothing insane, but it's pretty solid. However, that speed stat, that 150, is an elite speed tier. There's very few mods that hit that. I think it's like top 5 in the game, especially of mods that you can like actually use in Pokemon in general. I know it's definitely up there when it comes to that, which is awesome. I obviously think it's something like Mega Aerodactyl, or I know Electrode is that speed, so really fast stuff, which is obviously pretty nuts. And then 175 special attack off of a mod that has that base speed is insane. In a lot of matchups, you'll be able to go modest just because of that 150 base speed, and not many things coming within that 15-point ratio, being at that 135 or higher. So say you can go modest, that means at max special attack at level 100 with a modest nature, you're hitting 493, which, like I said, is absolutely insane, especially with this thing's coverage and its setup opportunities, and being able to go as bulky as it is, which is another thing I wanted to kind of talk about. While it does have some pretty mediocre bulk, especially in the defensive side of things, SPDEF, like I said, is pretty decent, but HP and defense are pretty lackluster. However, in draft, where you obviously only need to go enough speed to outspeed your opponent's fastest mod, the mod closest to this thing, and you might not need max special attack because you're base 175 or something like that. It leaves a lot of room for really bulky and annoying Zam spreads to come across, especially with access to moves like Calm Mind and things like that. You do get Recover, which, again, I don't want to jump too deep into the moveset because that's what we're going to be talking about next, but I think that's a really important part about Zam that sometimes people overlook a little bit, is its ability to go a lot bulkier than it typically would be run if you were playing, like Gen 7 OE or something like that, where you're running like max speed or something like that. It can be incredibly fat. You can run like a maxed up Benzel Sam and still hit like a truck and outspeed your opponent's entire team. So I think that's very important when you're talking about Zam here. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump on into the move pool of Mega ALAKAZAM. Alright, now move pool wise, Mega ALAKAZAM is obviously an offensive phenom, which means it has a great offensive move pool. I want to talk about the most let's go slide by slide. I had some different ideas. I wanted to bounce off different moves first, but we'll go exactly what's up on the screen first and all that stuff. So obviously you're gonna have access to Psychic and PSYSHOck. Both have their own merits in specific matchups. Obviously gonna be your strongest stab moves. Psychic is stronger in base power, and obviously gonna drop that SPDEF. PSYSHOCK is nice if you're going up against those big SPDEF walls, those chances, those blissies. You can obviously take advantage of them much better. You'll be doing a ton of those things with PSYSHOCK, the Florgesses of the world and stuff like that. So obviously nice to have both options. Focus Blast is a amazing tool for this thing, being able to throw off, really big hits against the types that would, want to take in and take those psychic stab moves, being the dark types, obviously, and steel types as well. Now, a new toy that Mega Alakazam actually got this gen, and I definitely wanted to talk about it as soon as possible, is going to be Nasty Plot. Now, previously, it had access to Calm Mind, which we'll talk about here in a second, but it's a bit of a slow setup, and especially from one that's, a little bit on the frailer side, even though I said, like it said, you can obviously EV it to take those hits that you might want to take and things like that. Nasty Plot is nice in the sense that you just need that one turn to set up to really just put a hurt on your opponent's team. If they don't have any Scarfers that outspeed you or any strong priority left or anything like that, you get up a Nasty Plot with Megazam, the game's pretty much over. And that actually leads a lot of leagues in Gen 8 nowadays to banning this thing, or at least banning Nasty Plot on it, just to kind of circumvent and stop that from really getting out of hand, which by the way made getting replays for this video pretty much impossible. We found some, which is obviously nice. We found some leaks that were, at least trying out Megazam with Plot and things like that, and we'll definitely be able to show off that here in a second. On to the next slide. We have Calm Mind, which is obviously the other way of setup. Still has its merits in the sense if you're a really bulky Zam and you want to boost up your SPDEF as well, it takes certain specific hits a little bit better. That's obviously a really viable option. Dazzling Gleam is another nice coverage move to hit those dark types I was talking about earlier, but with a more accurate, safe option. Obviously, you aren't hitting the steel types as hard, but say you're going up against a steel type that just doesn't take, fighting type, psychic type moves very well, like a Cobalion or something like that. Obviously, Dazzling Gleam is a nice option for the Umbreon on the team or something like that if you don't want to miss, I guess. Taunt is really nice with how fast this thing is. Taunt is phenomenal on it being able to, stop things from T-waving you, stop mons from potentially phasing you, like a Vaporeon, I guess, is a mon that comes to mind. A bunch of different things. Stopping setup on certain mons, like a Taunt Calm Mindset can obviously be pretty terrifying. And then Recover is really good for longevity because, again, like I said, you can make this thing a lot bulkier than it looks stat spread-wise. So you can potentially recover up on some things, even just on offensive sets. You could force switches and get up a recover then if you don't want to, set up on that turn and throw off a big hit, which is obviously super clutch. And then on to the next slide, and I believe it's our last slide we have. We have a lot of, we have a couple, utility moves that Zam can offer as well. It has Thunder Wave for even better speed control, which is obviously nice because this is a really fast Thunder Wave. You'll be able to get it off on a lot, and if you can catch a potential Scarf for coming in, trying to stop this thing from getting out of hand, that'd obviously be really good for later in the game. Encore is another great utility move, especially, like I said, on a crazy fast mon like this. It's essentially almost Prankster Encore at this point. If you can Encore a mon into, like, a Calm Mind or a Swords Dancer, you can Encore, a Wish Passer to Wish or Protect or something like that. That's obviously, super clutch in itself, and, with that base speed of 150, it's going to be really easy to get that off and put yourself in an advantageous situation. And then we also have Reflect and Light Screen. Again, with that speed tier, you can get off really fast screens. However, I don't think Megazam is the best screens user, just because of the fact that, one, you're Megazam, you're wasting 2 move slots on potential screens, and 2, you can't hold Light Clay, so they're going to be limited charge of screens. The best way I'd say maybe Megazam might be able to take advantage of screens is by throwing up a Reflect, but more so aiming to get it up for itself. Those of you that don't know, in Gen 7, we're more so focusing on Gen 8. We'll talk a little bit about Gen 7. I don't remember if we have any replays from around that time, but in Gen 7, Mega Alakazam had access to a move called Barrier, which raises defense by 2, which was also amazing for Zam because it let it beat a lot of the Leaker Pursuit Trappers that wanted to potentially stop this thing from, really steamrolling teams. Let it really boost up and kind of, muscle its way past them over a long amount of time. However, in Generation 8, Barrier was snapped. It's no longer a move, which was actually a big hit to Zam. Something that, in my personal opinion, makes it a lot more, manageable in a draft league setting. I'm personally one of the people that doesn't think it should be banned, but, That's just me. I can see the nasty plot ban being a thing, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, what I mean is barrier was a big hit to this thing going away. So maybe you could use reflect as like a pseudo barrier. Though I don't see that coming in to play too often. It's a very niche thing, but like I said, you know, a late game screen could always be clutch, and like with that 150 base speed, you can obviously get that up pretty fast. But yeah, that's gonna be the moveset. There's other, you know, obviously great tech moves on there. You have stuff like energy ball for coverage as well. I'm sure I'm missing, like, you have knockoff for like a fast knock if you really need it, which is actually really cool and a good option. And I'm sure there's a few that I'm missing, but these are kind of like the big mainstay ones that I really wanted to mention. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump on to some replays. Alright, so first off, I had to show off Nasty Plot ALAKAZAM-M. This is a replay from Pikachu Zappy Zap. He was cool enough to let me use this replay, so huge shouts to him. I'm asking him, I just asked him if he had any links that we want me to put in the description. He hasn't answered me yet, but if there is any, I'll put them in the description below, as well as all the people I'm going to showcase today. We got 4 replays, so all those dudes will have something down there. So obviously go check them out, and huge shouts to everybody that gave me a replay. But we're going to jump in right here. I just kind of wanted to show off the pure utter power of ALAKAZAM-M here, especially once a team gets just a tiny bit chipped. Now, ALAKAZAM-M obviously has a great speed tier over this team. It's going to be able to speed that really fast Mega Beedrill. The Dark type is down at this point. I'm not going to make you sit through the whole game. I think we're already 20 turns deep, and this is a ALAKAZAM-M showcase, not a, draft league show, like, a game review or anything like that. You have a really chipped Vaporeon. You have a Heatran at full, but you're going to see that's not really going to matter. You have a Bulu at full, and you have this really chipped Zapdos. So, the Zam's going to come in after the sack of, I believe, a Bronzong. It's going to force out the Zapdos, which they save for, I'm assuming, I don't know exactly why they saved it, but it's going to force a switch out into the Heatran, as they do just go for the Psychic, which is cool because they saved and kept their Magic Guard ability. I'm assuming just in case this Heatran wanted to come in, because what that's going to allow them to do is they're going to trace the Flash Fire. And this is what I mean in Trace being a really useful ability in the draft format, because this is going to stop this thing from, throwing off a big Magma Storm or something, like a big fire, like a Specs Fire Blast or something crazy that's going to do a ton of damage to this thing. Because Flash Cannon is not going to do all that much with that base 105 SPDEF if it's, has any bulk investment really at all. And this is going to allow this thing to really just kind of freely set up a nasty plot unless it roars, and the opponent's going to elect to throw up a Protect, which was going to be their first mistake, as you're going to see, because this Focus Blast is going to blow this thing backwards. In comes the Bulu, a pretty SPDEF bulky mon, but it's not living a +2 Zam Psychic. Not much in the world is unless you're a resist. Beedrill's going to come in, obviously drop, and obviously Zam's going to just pretty much clean up this game from this point. Just kind of showing off the raw power of this thing, showing off the usefulness of Trace, which I think is really cool. You don't see that. I mean, you do see it pretty often, but I think it was a smart play by the Zam player in order to, really keep that Trace to really take advantage of the Heatran. Obviously, if it was Roar, it would have been a little bit more scary, but since it wasn't, I know Zam's gonna definitely chew any one hit from a Heatran pretty easily, and it's gonna stop any like Magma Storm Protect shenanigans that it could have pulled off otherwise. So very good game, showcasing Zam being just ridiculously powerful. I mean, Okoing a Bulu from full, I don't know the spread of the Bulu, what the set was, anything like that, but still being able to Oko it from full with just, a neutral special attack is pretty insane in all honesty. So yeah, that's gonna be Nasty Plot Zam. I think we're gonna jump onto a Calm Mindset next. Yeah. Alright, so this next one is going to be a replay from my buddy Crypto. Huge shouts out to him for this one. But this is actually going to be a Gen 7 replay showcasing Calm Mind ALAKAZAM-M, which is obviously really nice. Showing it doesn't need that raw power and nasty plot to be an absolute menace. Now, this isn't like, a really bulky Calm Mind, recover fest here. But you're going to see the Zam's going to come in here on a, an Empoleon that actually just revenged a, Lycanroc from this point. And that's going to give it kind of free reign just to set up a Calm Mind at this point, because even with the good special attack set of Empoleon, that Scald is doing 28%. Focus Blast is going to come out, blow that thing backwards. And out comes the Miltank, and Miltank, again, another ridiculously bulky mon. But you're going to see right here, that this Focus Blast just sends it packing. Again, I don't know this Resident Evil This isn't my game in particular, but it's going to be, you know, just kind of lights out for this team right here. Now you're going to see that Glalie come in, and this is kind of what I meant, where Zam can, you know, while it's definitely frail on the physical side, it can still take those priority hits decently enough. That is a stab ice shard from a Mega Glalie, a very, very strong Pokemon. That only does a clean 38%, so positioned correctly, you should be able to live that hit pretty much all times, which is nice. And then out comes the Electros, and despite being another bulky mon, that PSYSHOCK is gonna blow that thing back, and then Calm Mind Zam is gonna clean up the game. So this one functioned a lot like the Nasty Block game that we saw a couple seconds ago there. However, now, Calm Mind Mega Zam also can be used in a much bulkier role. This is just kind of the best Calm Mind one that I could find, but you can definitely see a Calm Mind Zam, you know, recovering and boosting up and acquiring multiple boosts and being really, really annoying. So I thought that was obviously a good showcase of that. Shouts out to Cripper for the replay, and we're gonna come back with yet another replay in 1 sec. Alright, next up we got another Gen 7 replay from my buddy Darkrai. Huge shouts out to him for this one. This is going to be a just really bulky 3 attacks recover Mega Zam, kind of showing off that sense that I said, where you can kind of, you know, tailor this thing to be a lot bulkier than it really should be, just because of the, you know, excess amount of EVs you're going to have from not needing to go max speed, not needing to go max special attack or anything like that, just because this thing is so strong and so fast on its own. But yeah, let's jump right into it. We're going to see, oh no, I'm super fast. Let's go back a turn, because I was skipping through to kind of get the game going. So we're going to see a Garchomp revenge a, you know, Rotom Wash with a Devastating Drake. It's going to allow the Zam to come in. It's going to trace some Rough Skin as it Mega Evolves, knock out this thing with a Psychic, which is obviously super, super clutch. And out comes the Drapion. Now, this thing's going to go for a Hidden Power Ground, I'm assuming. Do like a clean 40-ish%. Not the most, you know, crazy amount that it's, you know, not the most crazy amount of damage or anything like that. But you're going to see this, what do you call it? This Drapion go for a Pursuit, expecting this thing to switch out. I think he lived the knockoff for this range, obviously, due to him being at, you know, complete full, and it also covered the Pursuit sting in. And due to tracing that Rough Skin there from the Garchomp, which I think is really cool, it's actually going to put it in range of another Hidden Power Ground, which I think is really, really, really clean. So down this Drapion's going to go, and this thing is looking to be in a phenomenal position. So it's going to recover right here, just because it can take any one hit from the Torn. A Rough Skin's going to pop off, chip that thing down a little bit. Not that it's going to matter a bunch, because of the fact that it can obviously, you know, regenerate it off. It's going to give the Zam its own free switch in. Shadow Ball's going to come out. It's going to drop this Drapion's defense, so this Zam is a bit more offensive. It's going to knock it out with the Focus Blast due to the defense drop, which is obviously pretty clutch. U-turn's going to come out, not knock out this freaking Zam, because again, pretty bulky, despite that, you know, sub 60 in the HP and defense stat there. But Psychic's going to come out as the Zam recovered on the U-turn, but a Continental Crush is going to be able to do a ton to this thing, knocking it out, so trading the Lando for the Zam. And this is going to put Darkrai obviously in a phenomenal position. Flareblast is going to come out, chip this thing down into range where it's going to be pretty much food for the Zam to come in and clean up this game with the bulk that it really does have. So it's going to trace the Sturdy. Not that that matters a little too much. If that was like Sheer Force Licks, that would have been pretty terrifying. But Hidden Power Ground's going to come out. It's going to obviously not touch the Tornadus. U-turn's going to come out, only do 47, so that's not a 2-hit KO from full, which is obviously really clutch. And the Rotom's going to come in while it's toxic and not really being able to beat the Zam very well. Discharge's going to come out, only do 37, obviously playing with some para chances there and stuff like that, but unfortunately it's not going to get it. The Torn's going to come out, recover once for good measure, just to see how much this is doing. Only 53, so basically all Dark's got to do is get the opponent to miss one Hurricane, which will happen eventually, as you're going to see. And after 3 in a row get hit, which is actually pretty good luck by the opponent, but they're going to miss the 4th one there. And that's pretty much going to seal the game here. And this bulky 3-attack Zam is going to pretty much be able to take it home, despite getting confused right here and hitting itself in confusion, but the next Hurricane misses. So all is well in the universe, which is pretty hilarious in my opinion. And yeah, out comes the Silks, and this thing's going to be knocked out by the Hidden Power Ground, and that's going to be Zam cleaning it up. Really showing off that natural bulk that, well, not that natural bulk, that it's the opposite of natural bulk. It's kind of like a fabricated bulk that it typically wouldn't assume of a mon as frail as it is, but obviously Dark used it very, very phenomenally there. And yeah, we're gonna close it out with one more replay. My boy Zombie sent me one while I was like mid-recording in between replays, and it was another Nasty Plot Zam one that really showed Zam taking advantage of that trace and great positioning by him. And I'm really excited to close out the video on this one, so we'll be right back with one more replay. Alright, so like I said, this is going to be the last replay of the day. My good buddy Zombie passed me this one. And like I said, this is really just going to showcase Nasty Plot Zam and Trace and really going crazy, you know, here in the end game. So you're going to see Steel is going to revenge this Serena. It's at -1 attack and special attack due to a parting shot from the Persian earlier in the game. So this is obviously going to facilitate a pretty easy setup opportunity for the Mega Zam, as it does throw up the Nasty Plot. Only take 43 from that heavy slam, and then Shadow Ball's gonna knock this thing out. Now, since it came in and traced that Celestial's ability, this is a Mega ALAKAZAM with Beast Boost, which means every single time it knocks something out, its highest stat is going to be raised, and that's obviously going to be special attack and an offensive Zam's perspective. So not only was this thing +2 due to the fact that it, you know, Nasty Plot, now it's chilling at +3. And if you look at my opponent's team, if they don't have Scarf Coco or like a Scarf Virizion, I don't know what they do about this. So obviously the Latios is going to come out, which kind of screams, you know, I don't have a Scarf for this thing. And now you got a +4 Zam on your hands. And there's not much in the game that's going to be able to take a hit from that thing, you know, just whatsoever. This thing's pretty much primed to sweep. It's going to get to +5. Knock out this Torkoal with a Psychic, and then be able to clean up the Virizion late game with a +6 Psychic there, which is obviously pretty crazy. But yeah, that's going to be a great showcase of ALAKAZAM and Nasty Plot, and really positioning it well with the parting shot support there, allowing it to set up on a mono strongest Celesteela, which I think is going to actually be our next Draft League study, which I'm pretty excited about. I got some good replays for that one. But really allowing it to get that setup opportunity and also take advantage of that Celesteel's ability and just kind of go crazy on the rest of, you know, the opponent's team there, which is pretty crazy there. But yeah, that's going to be our Draft League study on Mega ALAKAZAM. This thing's obviously phenomenal in this format. It's pretty insane how good this thing is, especially with the Nasty Plot buff. It did take a hit with the barrier being snapped from the game, but overall, I think this one's still obviously the best Mega in the format, or something close to it. I think you can't argue that it's outside of the top 3 with a straight face, but I would personally say it's #1 if you're allowing Mega Zam in your league. It's definitely the best one there. So definitely pick this one up if you get a chance. I personally haven't gotten to myself. That's why you saw no replays of myself in this one, but I'm definitely looking to try and find a league that's allowing it, and then, like, you know, giving the owner a couple bucks and slotting myself first in the draft so I can take it or something like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment on another mod you'd like to see in the Draft League Study series. I have a lot of fun making these, and I would really love some interaction from you guys. Let me know if you're enjoying them so that I can continue to, you know, obviously if you are, make content that you enjoy, and if you want to see something improved on it, I can, you know, obviously make changes and hopefully, you know, improve the content as we go along. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you enjoyed, drop a like. If you're new here, be sure to drop a sub. We got plenty of Draft League content going up every single week, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.